Okay, I do apologize for that. I forgot my glasses. All right, now we're going to do the follow-up to Spiritual Warfare, Part 2. And in Part 1, we discussed the Talmud, and we went into the Talmudic law, and we went over some articles of these laws and basically how they reflect um, today's society. All right? The synagogue of Satan, as you know, who are implementing these debaucherous and horrendous laws on this society, you must understand that these Talmudic laws are a social norm here in North America. Okay? But more than that, how these laws are a complete, and I do mean a complete disrespect to the prophets and the servants of Allah. It is this very reason why the Father is present today to battle and destroy these kinds of teachings, all right? Simply because it is a transgression of Allah's laws, all right? And it goes outside of the natural order of things. Okay, this is why we are at war with this kind of mindset and this kind of mind. All right? For example, the laws of God were given to Moses to share with the people. This is God's laws, right? And one of these laws state, quote, "And thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor." Meaning we're not supposed to lie. Naturally, the brain processes lies a lot differently than it does the truth. Okay? Now, in Talmudic laws, it states in 3 different sections, Chapter 2, Section 3, Article 1, it states a Jew may lie and perjure himself to condemn a Christian. Article 2 states a Jew may perjure himself with a clear conscience. Okay? Section 4, Article 1 states a Jew must always try to deceive Christians. All right, so as you can see, this is a satanic mind. All right? The brain processes lies and deception a lot differently. Okay, so the electricity conducted in the brain when the truth is processed, this means it's giving off light, electricity. Now, when that light and that process is interrupted and cut off, it disturbs the natural flow of things. Do you understand that? So basically, Allah knows the consequences that lies and deceit have on the effect that it has on the brain. So He made it a law for us not to lie. Okay, however, the synagogue of Satan made it a law for them to not only lie, but to do it with a clear conscience. All right? See, this is why the Father has declared war on them, because they insist that the people bow to these satanic laws and not God's laws. right? Now, I want you to understand the kind of mind this reflects and why it must be utterly destroyed. Now, Allah shared with us in the first video, Spiritual Warfare, Part 1, the reason why the synagogue of Satan has such a deep hate and contempt for Jesus and his mother Maryam and anyone who spoke and shared his teachings. Now, I didn't write the Talmud, so before you call me anti-Semitic, I suggest you read the Talmud. Then direct your questions towards the founders of it and the satanic minds who live by it daily and are forcing it on this fear-based society. Now, I want you to notice, family, how in the Talmud, the laws concerning Christians, excuse me a moment, the laws concerning Christians, they specifically use that word continuously over and over again. Why? Because the beginning of that word, you have the word Christ. Now, when Jesus was among them, they sought to murder him. Why? Because they did not want to obey the laws of God. And on top of that, they claimed that they were the children of Abraham. Genetically, of course, and if God was to share his light and law with anybody, it would be us, the synagogue of Satan. Okay, this is their thinking. And not you, because they see him as a monkey. Of course, they called him that. They see him as a beast, an animal. So they felt that he couldn't have possibly shared it with a black man. See, they spoke that way to Jesus when he was among them back then. And I promise you, it's the same talk today about Jesus, Maryam, and anyone who follows the teachings of the gospel. So, brothers and sisters, it makes no difference to the synagogue of Satan what color you are. If you are of the same mind of Jesus and his heavenly Father, they seek to commit all kinds of monstrosities against you and ultimately your death. So Article 2.1 in the Talmud states, Christians are not like men, but beasts. Point 8 goes on to say Christians only differ in form from beasts. Okay, these are their words, not mine. I'm just reading it to you. Point 9, animals, they're animals. Point 10, they're worse than animals. See, family, you have to understand how they see you. If you follow Jesus and the Heavenly Father, because Jesus was not a follower of himself, okay? He followed God. So essentially, the synagogue of Satan hates God, the one true and living God. Let me continue. Point 11, they propagate like beasts. Still talking about Christians now. Point 12, they are the children of the devil. Point 13, the souls of Christians are evil and unclean. Okay? So clearly, they don't see most of this society as human. All right, you need to look at their mindset. Let's continue. Article 3.1 of the Talmud speaks of priests, the ministers of Christian worship, and how they are idolaters. Point 2, Christian churches, a place of Christian worship, is called Beth Tifla, a house of vanity and foolishness, or a house of idolatry, or a house of evil laughter. Chapter 2 of the Talmud is titled Christians Must Be Exterminated. Article 1, harm must be done to Christians. Point 1, good must not be done to Christians. Section 2, harm must be done to the work of Christians. Point 1, Christians must not be told if they pay too much to a Jew. Point 2, lost property of Christians must not be returned to them. Point 3, Christians may be defrauded. Point 4, a Jew may pretend he is a Christian to deceive Christians. Point 5, a Jew is allowed to practice usury on Christians. That means